Yes, guys. Yes, people. Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV. Welcome back to another episode of 5 Things We Learnt. Big up to every single one of you. Hit the likes and subscribe on your way into the show. And we're here after being knocked out of the cup. 2-0 to Newcastle. We won the first leg. They won the second leg, I guess. But ultimately, not happy. Not happy because we've fumbled a cup. Not happy because we've lost to an out-of-form Newcastle side. And I'm also not happy with a lot of the reception that I'm seeing coming out this game because I'm seeing a lot of copium. People talking about, oh, it's okay to get knocked out of the cups. I'd rather beat United than beat Newcastle. I'd rather get top 4 than the Carabao. Like, it wasn't fathomable that we could go for both. But here we are in it. We're going to touch on all of that in today's show. And yeah, big up to every single one of you that's locked in. Hit the likes, subscribe, all of that crap. You guys know what to do. And before we start, we need to shout out the sponsors. Big up to Omely. With Omely, it's time to get in the game. Omely brings fans together like never before and lets them take center stage, whether you want to host a live show, jump in as a guest, listen in, or simply connect with other passionate supporters. Omely is the place where true football conversations happen. And the more you engage, the more recognition that you earn. So if you're ready to be a part of something bigger like we are, download Omely right now and let's bring football fans back home. And speaking of back home, that's exactly where we're going after that terrible performance. Terrible performance. We weren't good from minute one. And I guess we grew into the game a bit more in the second half, but even then I think it partly comes down to Newcastle just sitting back. They sat back and they just rested on what they already had because they were already 2-0 up. All they had to do was just drop into a flat back 5 and we just go into spamming crosses. It was just Nkunku and Felix up top. Like, nothing was ever going to come from that. All in all, though, very, very poor performance from us. The intensity was low. The decision-making was low. The passing was poor. Everything about that wasn't good. Like, the first point, I'll start off with the positives. So I want to shout out Mudryk and Cucurella because they're the only 2 real standout players. The only 2 players that could really hang their heads up high. And especially in the case of Mudryk, it's a very good thing that in a performance like this, someone like Mudryk is someone that we can isolate and say, you had a good game. You did your thing today. Because with a lot of players, it's difficult to say that. And with Mudryk, it would have been very difficult to say that a year ago. Even 6 months ago, to be exact. I think his composure's continued to improve. His decision-making's continued to improve. His passing was always there, like I always say. But he is starting to take those strides forward. And I saw a very, very optimistic performance from him. Now, I'm also not going to do the whole, this should mean he starts against United and all this crap. No, you're in the B team for a reason. And like, Neto don't need to be dropped. Noni don't need to be dropped. It's nothing like that. But I do see the performances. And if either of them were to drop their level, Sancho included, there's a route for Mudryk back into the first team. But it depends on those situations. One of Neto, well, 2 of Neto and Sancho would have to drop bad performances or to a level where you'd have to consider throwing them into the Conference League games. And then maybe you consider it. But Mudryk did his thing. Cucurella was very good as well. Shout out to the pair of them. They were the only real shining lights, if anything, because the rest was just all downhill from there. My second point is more based on the fans. I think that us as a fan base, we need to learn to respect domestic cups a little bit more. And like, I get it. Well, I don't get it. I've seen people talking about how, I'd rather get knocked out of this and focus on the league and all of this. We can get top 4 and focus on the Carabao Cup. We talk about the strength that we have in depth. We talk about the quality of the A team and the B team, all to just say, oh, but it's okay. I'd rather get knocked out of the cups and focus on the league. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? It's actually clueless. It's so clueless. There was no reason why we couldn't win this game and also go to Manchester United and win. Neither of those clubs are in form. Neither of them. And in terms of looking down on the Carabao Cup anyway, I am sure every single one of you that said that garbage was not saying that in February when we lost the final. You lot were annoyed. Why? Because it's a trophy. So please miss me with this copium that it's okay to get knocked out of this cup, because it's not. Trophies are there to be won. This club was built on winning trophies. The mentality that everyone talks about from the Roman era was based on winning trophies. People like Mourinho and Guardiola don't look down on this competition. So why the hell are we? Why are we? It's embarrassing. It is absolutely embarrassing the way that some fans are trying to look down on this competition and act like it's okay for us to get knocked out. It's not. It's not. Just got to make sure that we take the FA Cup seriously at the very least now, but it's not okay. And I'm not listening to any copium from people trying to act like that it is, because it isn't. Leads me on to the next point as well. Maresca needs to learn from this, because I think he handled this game in a very naive manner. And I'm not talking about the starting 11, bar Dewsbury Hall at right wing. But even then, that leads on to my main point, which is the bench. The bench is where I'm annoyed with Maresca. You didn't prepare for a position where we were losing this game. You went into the game expecting a victory. And like, cool. Yeah, the B team's done their thing. But prepare for if they're in a losing position. Our only options were Palmer and Madueke as attacking options. And we didn't even bring Palmer off the bench. Like, so Chucky Mecca and Mark Hugh didn't get used anyway, but like, that lot of good they would have done anyway. My thing is more like, where was the Caicedos? Where was Jackson? Where was Neto? Have them as options on the bench. I know people are going to talk load management. I will not talk down on load management. But I mean, what? They can't play 30, 45 minutes? Really? It's not even a Thursday, Sunday thing. It's not even a Thursday, Sunday. It's a Wednesday, Sunday. We treated this game like it was a Conference League match. And that's my problem. Because it ain't Ghent. It ain't, what's the other team's name? I don't even remember. That says how important it was. Panathinaikos. It's not Barrow. So why do we have a bench like it's Barrow? It's Newcastle away. We don't play well there anyway. It's just not good enough. Ultimately, just not good enough. And again, I said from the start, Maresca needs more patience than Pochettino because he's an inexperienced manager, and I expect him to make mistakes at some point in the season. Today, he made a mistake. This was a mistake. Go learn from it. I ain't going to be screaming Maresca out or nothing like that. We're not doing that. But he fumbled it. He should have had a stronger bench. He should have had other options that we could look for. And also, why did we leave Palmer on the bench? Why? That made no sense. No sense at all. Silly. It's so silly. My fourth point, Enzo Fernandez, not good enough. This man was in a deeper position and got bullied by Longstaff all game. I am rapidly starting to run out of patience with this guy. Rapidly. Because you're not good in the 10. You ain't playing in the 8. I don't even think you have the mobility for it. And you ain't moving the needle in the 6. So what do you really do? Genuinely, what do you really do at this point? I am really starting to run out of patience. Big month ahead for you, mate. Big month ahead for you. Because it's just not good enough at this point. It really isn't good enough. And my final points, João Felix and Nkunku. João Felix needs to pattern up and stop being so selfish when he's in possession. And Nkunku, I'll be so real, this guy looks more comfortable in the 10 than anywhere else. And I'd rather play him there than Felix, because he seems less selfish on the ball. He actually seems like more of a team player. All Felix did when he was on the ball was spam shoot. I don't know how people are trying to tell me that he had a good game. I would argue he was the worst one of the lot, because he's the one that had the most of the ball. And when he had it, all he did was spam shoot. All he did was spam shoot. I know people say Disasi, Dewsbury Hall. These men were out of position. They were out of position. Felix weren't. And he was a 10 that was out of position at times because he was going further forward. Same thing I got annoyed at Gallagher for doing last season. And then when he got the ball, he was either getting dead touches or spamming shoot. Not good enough. Just straight not good enough. But whatever. We're out the cup, I guess. And some people are happy about that. Embarrassing. But yeah, big up to every single one of you. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Better beat Manchester United. I swear on my life. And yeah, take care, everybody. Up the Chelsea. Up the Chelsea.